academic professional with rich experience of more than 18 years of experience in field of computer science, collaborated in research activities and had contributed many research paper book chapters in the field of education data mining at various reputed international and national platforms. She has handled various government-funded projects under DST, Government of India, for entrepreneurship development of students and faculty members. She is also actively involved in various institutional building activities and working closely with corporate fraternity.
Thank you.
I request ma'am for your address.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, CC Chaudhary Charan Singh University, Mera Dr. N.K. Taneja, sir. Respected Vice Chairman, ITS Education Group, Mr. Arpit Chadha, sir. Secretary, ITS Education Group and Director PR, sir. Respected Colonel Prashant Mishra, sir, Manoj Chuk, sir, Mr. Aki Jackson, sir, Director UG and IT, Dr. Sunil Kumar Pandey, sir, distinguished guests, faculty colleagues, participants from different parts of the country. Dear students, a very good morning. In this 5 days online summit on innovation, incubation, startup, and research challenges in India, we have got an opportunity to listen and interact with the stalwarts who, with their rich experience, not only steer the key discussions with an enlightening perspective related to the theme, but also help us to widen our knowledge and perspective on relevant theme. First and foremost, on the behalf of Institute and on my own behalf, I convey my deep regards and gratitude to Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, and all distinguished guests for their gracious presence today at this virtual platform. We are indebted to you for accepting our request to share your experience and expertise with all of us today. I would like to start with a famous saying that the only constant in life is change. And it seems very true in today's dynamic world, where emerging computing technologies like blockchain, artificial intelligence, machine learning, quantum computing are rapidly reshaping the business models. And it is evident that in this scenario, the leaders of tomorrow, that is our young generation, would require different and consistently evolving skill sets to operate in this dynamic environment. We all will agree that innovation does not just mean the use of technology or new inventions, but it also involves a new way of thinking, a different way of looking at problems and solving them. For any academic institution, innovation in education, which can encourage students and teachers to research, explore, and use of different tools to uncover something new is very, very important. It shall help students to develop their creativity and problem-solving skills. Using new methods, new activities, and new tools that can help teachers to enhance their teaching and making topics more real and relevant. But at the same time, it is equally imperative for the students to become more active, creative, and innovative so that they can link the subjects with the real life situations and gather more information through their critical learning. An innovative education system which can nurture and cultivate creativity and develop thinkers who are capable to explore their different interests while utilizing their own strength is all that we all must aspire for. Any education system shall be able to develop young learners into creative, knowledgeable, and independent thinkers to cater the growing challenges of the VUCA world. And industry-focused and entrepreneurship-based innovative centers shall also be geared up to foster innovation culture and nurture the disruptive ideas. Even the job market nowadays has evolved in a way that the career opportunities and work culture has been changed. Employers prefer any employee who is creative and can come up with innovative ideas for the growth of company, but not just fulfill his basic duties. A proactive, creative, and the problem-solving approaches needs to be inculcated so that any employee can keep himself an edge over others. Even the Google company assigns a special hour or a day in each of the offices for the people to experiment and innovate. And it has encourages employees to innovate within the offices. And many innovative products like Hangout, Google Maps, and language translation, etc., are a part of this in-house born ideas. So keeping the pace with the changing technology and the changing nature of the work, it is absolutely important to develop innovation skills and competencies, including creativity, analytic thinking, problem solving, decision making. And also the guidance and mentorship of the stalwarts gracing this virtual dice today will surely help each one of us to grow with the enormous opportunity. I once again express my sincere gratitude to Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, and all other distinguished guests for their valuable time and gracious presence today at this virtual interface. Best regards and thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your words, ma'am. Thank you so much. Now, before inviting the person who guides and keeps motivating us in upgrading our knowledge, our Director, UG Dr. Sunil Kumar Pandey sir, for his welcome address, I would like to introduce.
Thank you. Thank you, Pujari.
Okay.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, CCS University Meerut, under whose able guidance, mentorship, and the lots of initiative which has been taken at university level. Sir, we, on behalf of Institute, on behalf of all the faculty members, the students, and the faculty members, those who have joined from various institutes of our university and across the country, I welcome you in this very important event of ours, and your merely presence has added a lot of value to it. Our Vice Chairman, ITS Education Group, Shri Chadha sir, Dr. Priya Sri Suren Sood sir, Chairperson and coordinators of BBA and BCA courses, the faculty members. It's really a great day for all of us to have our Honorable Vice Chancellor among ourselves. And as an institute, we all, everything, whatever we are doing, whatever initiative we are taking at institute level, because ultimately the ideas were conceived by the person who is among ourselves today. And I'm sure that listening such stalwarts always gives all of us something to think up and to implement, which makes ourselves as an institute in true sense. Sir, this has always been a very inspiring to spend time with you, to listen your thoughts and your guidance, which all of us are following. And I'm really pleased to share with you, sir, that the initiative was taken by the university to promote the skill-oriented courses, to create certain center of excellences where students, along with their university prescribed course curriculum, they can also imbibe with certain attributes which increases their employability and also add value to their knowledge base apart from the course curriculum what we all have. Sir, I'm really I take pride in sharing with you that at ITS we have been able to establish center of excellence on different latest technologies, whether it is mobile application development, whether it is IoT, whether it is data science, whether it is web application development. And we have also, way back in 2008, started this value-added modules to supplement our course curriculum to make it more useful and increase the employability of our students. And today, we are also commencing this job-oriented industry certified courses for our students, which will be for BBA and BCA courses. And we will be offering in parallel, along with their BBA, BCA courses, which will be diploma and certificate courses in data science, in cybersecurity. For BBA students, we have tied up with BSc and MCX to provide them opportunity to understand what is happening in industry so that they can correlate, they can connect their course curriculum and understand how this course curriculum is going to help them in their preparation for their professional career. And I'm really happy to share, sir, that this year, in spite of all pandemic challenges, we have been able to show our thumping presence when it comes to placements too. This year, our students have been able to get placed in the companies like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, Zomato, then Nagaro. These are the companies where our students of BBA, BCA have been placed. So under your able guidance, under your mentorship, we are putting our best of efforts to make sure that we justify our presence as an academic institute. And we assure you that at our level, we will always trying and putting our best of effort to make sure that we can give some reason to feel happy to you as our elder, as our mentor, as our guide. Once again, on behalf of Institute, we all welcome you, sir, and we are really thankful to you for making it us in spite of all your busy schedule. We all know that you have lined up number of meetings, but in spite of all that, you have made it for us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your words. Now, before inviting a person who is always a mentor and visionary for all of us, our Honorable Vice Chairman, ITS Education Group, Shri Arpit Chadha, sir, I would like to introduce him.
I'll take over.
Yes, yes.
Very good morning. I know this is not the correct time for the introductions and everything. We've got Honorable Respected Vice Chancellor, CCS University, Professor N.K. Taneja, sir, with us today. First of all, to start with, I would like to heartily welcome you, sir, and heartfelt thanks to you for sparing time and being among us today. I've always said and maintained it is people like you, it is people like Professor Manoj Chog and other dignitaries who've joined in today. And Dr. Sunil Pandey, it's a pleasure for us that when we started this 5-day summit on innovation, incubation, startup and research challenges in India, we had Vice Chancellor of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University with us, Professor Vineet Kansal. And when we are culminating this 5-day summit and also the ceremony for BBA job-oriented diploma, advanced diploma courses, which we are doing, that we've got the Vice Chancellor of our own very CCS University with us. Sir, it's a great honor to have you amongst us. I will just take 2 minutes and hand it over to the professor to invite you for your talk, which every one of us is really waiting for. We started with 60 students in 1995, that is 25 years ago. And we've reached 8,000 students now, 8,000 plus students now. This would not have been possible without able guidance, mentorship, and the blessings of people like you and people from industry as well, who always helped and supported us and guided us. These job-oriented industry certified courses is nothing but, again, something which the industry people sat with us and guided us that there should be something which makes the students more employable. We at ITS have always believed when a student takes admission in ITS, a parent puts in their hard-earned money and puts a child to ITS. It is our responsibility and duty as an institution, as a teacher, to make sure that we give the best to the students. And trust me, sir, we leave no stone unturned to make the future of student as bright as possible. Coming to the topic, innovation and challenges, I've always believed in life, challenges would be there everywhere. I would again speak something the earlier speaker in the previous 5 days said. The sad part of this country is that the startup is always not seen as a first choice. It is always seen as a second thought. As in, if you didn't get employed anywhere, you can start a startup. Whereas it can be a first choice preference as well. My request to all the young budding friends, my colleagues would be, this should not be the thought in your mind. If you feel that there's something you want to do, you should go for it. Failures, as I said, is part of life. There's no one in this world who has not failed, and failing and coming back and succeeding taste even better. There's a very famous quote which I said earlier also, nothing lasts forever. This is good also, this is bad also. If you're going through a bad time, you can look at this quote and always think there's better days ahead. Always keep trying. There's never end in life. Keep pursuing your passion, your dreams, and I'm sure you'll be successful. I got a very nice message. Sometimes you get good messages on WhatsApp. So there's a message which came to me today only. There's a very good innovation which a bird does. That is a bird's nest. It's created by a bird itself. There's no engineering in it. There's no teacher in it, but it's a very nice innovation wherein a bird creates his own nest. Again, innovation, I feel, is very, very important. Even if you've got a well-established brand, we've seen people who've not innovated like Nokia, etc., have shut down, literally shut down. These days, there's a very nice innovation I see on television. There's this app called Cred app, which have hired Rahul Dravid as a brand endorser. And they've shown Rahul Dravid creating ruckus in a road. You would have never imagined that person, that personality doing all that stuff. Why they've shown him in that aspect is just to create a recall value. That's the innovation done by that app. Why I'm using that example, shows in itself that it has a recall value. That is how I can also recall it. I would not take much more time of yours. Once again, heartfelt thanks to Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir Professor N.K. Taneja Sir for always being there, guiding us and supporting us in all our endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your word of wisdom. Definitely, sir, we should have passion to fulfill our dreams with innovation. Thank you so much, sir. Today, on the concluding day of the online summit, we will be listening to some more eminent speakers who will be sharing their knowledge and experience with us. Now, request and invite the person who is a guide and motivation for all of us, our Director PR ITS Education Group, Sri Sundar Sood sir, to say a few words and introduce our chief guest of the day, Professor N.K. Taneja sir. Sir, over to you, sir.
Sir, you are muted, sir. Please unmute, sir. Hello, sir. Sir, you are muted, sir.
Panditji, you can take over if Mr. Sood has got disconnected by any which ways.
Sir.
Sir, you are mute, sir.
Okay.
Pooja, yes,
Yes, please go on, sir.
Good morning, sir. It's my pleasure and honor to welcome Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. N.K. Taneja, who is a renowned economist and was a member of Madhya Pradesh Public Service Commission. His guidance has been a miracle and created miracles in the university. I remember, sir, that whenever I had the pleasure of meeting you, I always had something new to learn from you. At the same time, it's my also pleasure to welcome our own chairman, Mr. Arpit Chadda, the youngest vice chairman and the entrepreneur who is heading the education segment, the conglomerate called ITS, the Education Group. And of course, the eminent speakers, Mr. R.C. Jackson, Lieutenant Colonel Prashant Mishra, Mr. Manoj Chugh, and of course, sir, I'll not take much time. I'll just add a few things because this is a topic which has been haunting us since long, from the day we started the institute. And we were the first in the entire state to start the courses other than the regular university courses. In 2008, we started the skill development course for BBA, BCA in association with Oracle, NIIT, HCL, and Bombay Stock Exchange. 2015, we joined hands with DST for promoting Entrepreneurship and Incubation Center. 2021, we have received approval from MSME, Government of India, to establish Incubation Center at Mohannagar. We have got the results up. It had been a guidance of both the great gentlemen today with whom we are here, that is our Vice Chancellor, sir, and Vice Chairman as well. Because what we have always believed in, the future will belong to people who can do innovations, who can think differently from the line of the tradition, and also at the same time, it is a time for researchers. And it is definitely a clear-cut sort of an agenda for us at ITS that Incubation Center is one which has produced a lot of startups from our own people. The first thing which we decided was to catch them young. That's why when they came out of school at class 12, the first thing we made them to do is not only go into the regular syllabi laid down by the authorities, but also to learn things which are job-oriented, which can give entrepreneurship, which can imbibe the spirit of entrepreneurship. And we succeeded in a big way. Companies like Infosys, Microsoft, HCL, and not only the Indian, but the global companies, even people like Google, they came and picked up our students from BBA and BCA. And that had not been possible, would not have been possible without your own personal interest, Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, because whenever you have talked and spoken at the forums, you have always advocated not only the academic excellence, but also the excellence in promoting oneself, not to be a job seeker, but to be a job giver. With these words, I once again welcome all the honorable guests on screen today, and I'm sure the words of wisdom will definitely be picked up by the youngsters who are listening to it. I hand it over to Professor Pooja to take on the proceedings from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your words. Now request and invite Professor N.K. Taneja, chief guest of today's session, for his words. Sir.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
It's indeed a pleasure to have been associated with 5-day summit on innovation, incubation, startups, and research challenges in India, being organized by one of the pioneer institutes in the sector of self-financed education providers affiliated to this university, the Institute of Technology and Science, Mohan Nagar. Its present here are Professor Nancy Sharma, Professor Sunil Pandey, Professor Pooja Dhar, the Vice Chairman of ITS Group, Shri Arpit Chhabda, no, Shri Arpit Chadha, and of course, one of the most important functionaries of this institute, Shri Surinder Sood, distinguished faculty members and invited speakers and dear participants. I'm really very happy to have been invited here to share some of my, of course, incomplete understanding with you on this very important theme. As a matter of fact, much before the recent emphasis on innovation, technological improvement, etc., the most important aspect to be underlined is that Professor Joseph A. Schumpeter in 19th century had very clearly emphasized that the road to progress lies in innovation. He is one of the most important of neoclassical economists produced by this world. Strictly speaking, all businesses exist, thrive, and can prosper only if they are able to sell more. Selling more means producing more goods and services also. And selling becomes possible only when more and more sections of the customers, ever rising customers because of rising population, are brought into the orbit of the buyers. They can become buyers if and only if we are able to reduce cost of production. And mind it, technological improvement is nothing but the way of doing things better. And this way of doing things better does have a very specific business and economic meaning. And that is that only that technology will prevail, howsoever modern it may be, which lowers the cost of production. And this lowering the cost of production also increases the prospective buyers. Some of you who are old enough might be knowing that some 30 years ago, one was compelled to spend a high proportion of one's salary or earnings. The class 1 officers used to spend their one-day salary on having a dialogue with a relation of theirs sitting in a nearby country, Indonesia. It is the miracle, or it is the result of technological developments, scientific innovations, that the cost for these communications is now reduced. Almost in every sphere of business, technological development has reduced the cost of production. And it is because of this that Paul M. Romer, the Nobel Prize winner in 2018, had very clearly emphasized that the growth means the business growth. The business growth is contingent upon the firm's ability to be more innovative, to indulge in technological development, to bring more and more improvements in technology so as to reduce the cost of production and attract more and more customers. Even in present days, we are hearing a lot about Byju's and Zomato and Swiggy, Ola. All these services are being experienced by us. And we know that earlier, the cost of production, the price of these services used to be very high. And now this reduction in cost and reduction in price, and consequently the business growth, is due to there only because of technological developments. Unfortunately for us, the economic policy makers of India in early 50s did not attach any importance to private sector being able to do business efficiently. And therefore, the entrepreneurial spirits of India's private sector were killed. We had assigned key role to public sector. There was no sense, there is no economic sense, government producing private goods and services. I would say there is no economic utility of steel being produced by government, or even for that matter, the railway services being produced by the public sector, that is the government. It is satisfying that the new government that has taken control of India ever since 2014 has come up in a big way to encourage private sector and also to kindle entrepreneurial spirits of our youth. And it is the entrepreneur who will be taking risk to innovate, to improve upon the technology. It is in this context that the role of educational sector, the role of educational institutions has to be underlined very specifically, because the entrepreneurial ability of the young students has to be nurtured and cultivated at the level of the institute. Not only this, the interface between academia and the industry and business is also highly required. And the starting point of incubation centers, the incubators, has to be the teaching departments of the universities and colleges. The National Education Policy 2020 has come in a big way to reinvent our educational sector and to reinvigorate our university and college departments. It's a matter of great happiness that Institute of Technology and Science, ITS, and its group in colleges have been doing a lot much before. They are the pioneers, and the pioneers are those who realize what is going to be the need of the future in times to come. They had been involving with this industry academia interface since their very beginning in mid-1950s. I have been associated with them and observing their growth path very closely over the past 26 years of my association with them, as also with Chaudhry Charan Singh University, Meerut, in various capacities. Now, The National Education Policy 2020 has provided for skill development, not only in relation to BBA and BCA programs or these so-called professional programs. As a matter of fact, every program, the conventional programs, BA, BSc, BCom, and BSc AG are going to have a big industry interface. The skill development courses are planned even in these programs. It's a matter of happiness and great satisfaction that you have chosen to organize this 5-day workshop, that too in a big way, to create an ambience, to create an environment for all-round incubator development and entrepreneurship development. What I would like to suggest is that at the local level, we should be thinking in terms of and aligning with the one district, one product program of government of Uttar Pradesh. And this is the real spirit of having incubators. Mostly people confuse incubator as an institution whereby only something new or new innovation will be taking place. New innovation or technological improvement is an ongoing phenomenon. It is a continuous phenomenon, and it should always be there. Its importance cannot be overemphasized. It's highly needed. But incubator as such is the institution that will help new entrepreneurs, upcoming entrepreneurs, to grow, those who have an idea and need some help. All this type of help, the technical help, the secretarial help, the equipment help, and financial help is being provided under different schemes of the government of India, as also that of state government. I have just named one scheme. I would be very happy if the institute, that is ITS, comes up with such very specific programs. In educational institutions have definitely a big role to play in the area of their education, their course content, delivery, all aspects being linked to industry, being linked to business growth. And many schemes of Government of India are now aimed at providing wings to entrepreneurs, nurturing, cultivating, and ultimately seeing grow the business units, the young entrepreneurs, should be the only way to solving the problems of Indian economy. I wish this knowledge growth drive shall go a long way in creating suitable environment for a high rate of growth of India, and also the increasing employment prospects of Indian youth. One related aspect is that the youth have to be so trained so that they are not only job seekers, but also become job providers, job givers. And this is only through the startups, the incubator development centers, that these aspects will definitely see the new light of the day. I'm thankful to the organizers for having invited me to be with you this forenoon and share some of my understanding with you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your words. Truly mentioned by you, sir, that scientific innovation is the key to a successful business. Thank you so much, sir, for your blessings. Now, may I request Vice Chairman, ITS Education Group, Shri Arpit Chadha, sir, for vote of thanks to our chief guest, Professor N.K. Taneja, sir.
Respected Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor N.K. Taneja, sir, It was really heartening to listen to your thoughts. And as I said in the beginning, each one of us was eagerly waiting to hear from you your thoughts. And as rightly suggested by you, sir, we will inculcate all the suggestions which you've given, even as far as innovation regarding association with the scheme of Uttar Pradesh thing. We will look into that as well, and we'll try and make the university and you proud in all our future endeavors. Thank you once again, sir, for being with us today in spite of your busy schedule. I personally was one of the 300 plus participants listening with open ears, and I'm sure it will help me and as well as each participants to go a long way in their life if we inculcate all what you've said in your small address to the gathering. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Shri Manoj Chuk sir has joined us. We welcome you in this virtual summit, sir. Today, we are again fortunate to listen Shri Manoj Chuk sir, our next eminent speaker. And before inviting sir, I would like to introduce him. Shri Manoj Chuk sir, President Group Public Affairs, Member Group Executive Board, Mahindra and Mahindra. Shri Manoj Chuk sir currently heads Public Affairs for the Mahindra Group, a diversified conglomerate of 150 firms. He focuses on leveraging the benefits of technology to drive greater societal good and build long-term sustainable business. With a career spanning 4 decades in IT industry, Shri Manoj Chuk sir has always been a transformation leader who's taken visionary steps in system integration, high-tech products, and global services. In the first 15 years at Indian homegrown startups, Shri Manoj Chuk sir has driven IT system integration businesses that has helped India build its large tech firms. His key roles have included opening up new geographies, building and leading high-performing regions, turning around to pole position a challenging high-end server business, and creating new verticals like telecom. Under his leadership, many citizens-focused projects of national importance have become operational in the country, such as the computerization of immigration and passport services, indirect taxes, and homeland security. These have served as a strong foundation for India's foray into IT and citizen-centric technology that are considered global benchmarks. During the COVID pandemic, millions of students and professionals have worked seamlessly from home. Thanks to his foundation he built 2 decades ago. During Shri Manoj tenure, while Scientific Atlanta became one of the top 2 in its industry, Cisco and EMC became #1 in their respective areas. At the 3, he has grown revenues manifold. Shri Manoj Chuk's third phase of the 6 years has gone into expanding a global IT service players business in 70 markets, integrating Mahindra Satyam and Tech Mahindra has driven up its revenue 3 times to 3 billion and has the milestones. Now I request and invite Shri Manoj Chuk sir for his address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Pooja, for your very, very generous introduction. I truly appreciate it very much. My only request is that since I'm very much like family to ITS, next time you don't need to make such a long introduction. You can just call my name out and that will be good enough. I'd like to first of all begin by saying a very big thank you to Arpitji for having me here on the session today. It's been a long time since we have physically met. I've always had the honor and opportunity of coming to your campus, and I've always enjoyed your wonderful hospitality, which I'm absolutely missing today. But I'm sure that we will make up, as things become normal. Professor Sunil Pandey reached out to me a few weeks ago and mentioned about this very interesting topic that has been chosen for focus over the next few days. And frankly, I was taken a little aback because innovation is something that we always take for granted. But very few of us truly understand what is innovation. We tend to confuse innovation with invention. We tend to confuse innovation with something new. So I thought what I would do today is to perhaps try and demystify innovation, because that is really the fulcrum of entrepreneurship. I'd like to again thank the entire faculty of ITS for for joining in this morning. And I do hope that over the next several minutes that I'm going to be with you, we will get the opportunity to interact and engage on this topic. And if Professor Pandey permits, if any of the faculty would like to ask me questions, or students, if we have time, I'd be very happy to take a few. But first of all, thank you very much once again for having me with you. I'm truly honored to be here with all of you. And as I said, today's topic is very timely, very apt, particularly given the fact that hopefully we should see the pandemic abate in the months ahead. I think having seen India and our journey over the last 4 decades, and having worked in the corporate sector much prior to India's economic liberalization in 1991, today I'm incredibly proud that India is amongst the top 50 countries on the Global Innovation Index. I think we have come a long way. And the good news is that our position is improving year on year. And I think I'm incredibly proud about what we are doing and what the younger generation particularly is achieving. In fact, as you know, we have more than 50 unicorns in the country, and our Honorable Prime Minister is incredibly proud of their contribution to India. In fact, today we are amongst the top 3 in the world when it comes to number of unicorns, firms which have, a market capitalization of more than $1 billion. And Indian startups are really hot, as they say. In fact, just last year, our startups attracted over $10 billion in terms of funding. What a great feat, unimaginable numbers. As I reflect back and look at my own career, unthinkable, and absolutely stupendous. So my congratulations goes out to all our young innovators, all our young entrepreneurs who are doing incredibly well. And as I said, it is my hope that India should move up from top 3 to top 2, and then of course, the top country. I think as a country, as we march forward, an important point to ponder, and a lot of people ask me this question, why is innovation important? Innovation is important because it drives economic growth and development. Given that we have so many people in our country who are still below the poverty line, I think it is very, very important for us to grow our GDP substantially higher than what it is today if we have to bring tens of millions of people out of poverty. And innovation becomes an important lever in terms of helping drive that economic growth. We also know that entrepreneurship and innovation are almost synergistic terms. Professor Taneja, I think rallied everyone and said that we should become just not employment seekers, but employment generators. We can all become employment generators by being successful entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurship is driven by innovation. So we are going to spend more time in terms of understanding innovation and what we can do. I will try and demystify this so that all of you youngsters who are listening to me today, perhaps when you go to sleep this evening, tonight, you will start thinking about some ways in which you can also become an innovator and become an employment generator. A common myth that I've often seen is that a great idea is the holy grail of innovation. So if you have a fantastic idea, then you are an innovator. I think that is a common myth that we see. I think there can be nothing farther than this from the truth. It is the wind in the sails of that idea, the execution piece, which can create a multiplier effect and therefore basically help that innovation carry wings. A great idea poorly executed is not innovation. I want everyone to know that. You may have the best idea, it may be the most fantastic idea, but if you do not execute well, then it is not going to cross the threshold of innovation. And the vice versa is also true. A weak idea, a so-so idea, a not so great idea, brilliantly executed, can lead to huge value creation and will be considered to be innovative. Therefore, understanding the aspect of commercialization of the idea is paramount. And I can assure you that that is not easy. Innovation is about generating value. Innovation is not about the next sexiest invention that anyone does. And therefore, I want everyone to realize that when you look at innovation, you need to look at whether you are doing things better, faster, and cheaper than what they are being executed on today. The important aspect also is, what is your right to win? And I think right to win is something we need to spend time on. I have often sat in many meetings where people have never been able to answer the simple question of what is their core purpose. Why are they running a specific organization, or why have they chosen a specific idea? Many times it's an idea just picked up from somewhere where their core purpose is not clear. And I think that if you have to do innovation, which is market beating, you need to be very clear on the core purpose that you are attempting to achieve. You have to be very clear on what is your right to win. And you also have to be very clear that you need to be much better than everyone else, particularly when it comes to execution. Another myth that we have often heard is that in order to be innovative, you have to be an inventor. You have to be a creator of the idea. And I can only tell you that that is farthest from the truth. The most innovative companies, frankly, are not the companies which have invented the original idea or the original technology. It is somebody else. But what they have been able to do is they have been able to commercialize it, and they have been able to out-execute everyone else. So I just want to put at rest this big myth that, sir, how do I become an innovator? I'm not a creator. I'm not creative. I'm not an inventor. I'm not a genius. I am not a scientist. How can I become innovative? My answer to you is you can absolutely become innovative. You can take an idea from somebody else. You can take an invention from somebody else. But if you can very clearly understand what you can drive in terms of commercialization and implementation and execution, and clearly define the purpose for which that invention is going to help and serve mankind, you can absolutely become very, very successful. A third myth that I've often heard is that the innovation can only be built on something which is very cool, truly unique, a crazy idea. And a lot of people tell me, but sir, these crazy ideas don't come to me. I don't know what is the coolest thing to do, right? I don't think I'm that way. So how can I become an innovator? And therefore, how do I become a successful entrepreneur? I can only tell you that what is the use of an idea if you are not able to identify a market? An idea well executed, which captures the imagination of the market, makes for successful innovation. So I hope I have been able to create the equation in your mind that innovation is not equal to invention. Innovation is not equal to creation of something new. Innovation is not equal to a crazy idea. Innovation is not equal to doing something which nobody has done. Innovation is equal to an idea which has been commercialized well. That is what innovation is all about. And it's very important when you innovate to understand what the market needs. And the market needs can be very visible. And as you know, many times market needs can also be latent. So you need to go figure out what that market need is. As I said, a lot of myths are there around innovation. It has to be the coolest idea, craziest idea, something that nobody has ever done, something the world has never imagined. While there are some such ideas, and there always are, that's why the world has progressed and reached where it is, but that is not a necessary condition. And I will explain to you, why I am making that statement. There are really two kinds of innovations, incremental and radical. Most people only view radical innovations as true innovation. That is blue sky, inventing something that nobody in the world has seen before, like the first aircraft, like the first steam engine, like the first incandescent bulb, etc., etc. Right? So these have been truly radical innovations. And most people think that those are the innovations which are true because they grab the headlines. However, I want to rest everyone's anxiety when I say that every innovation cannot be world-changing or industry-changing. That disrupts the market. A lot of people tell me, oh, I got this idea, but it's not disruptive. Well, the good news is every innovation doesn't need to be radically disruptive. It may not be totally differentiated. It can be differentiated, may not be totally differentiated. Let me take the case of an innovation where everyone thought it's a cool idea. But many of you will agree with me that finally, we don't think it's that innovative because we could not see successful commercialization. For example, let us go back and look at the first generation of smartwatches. Was it not a cool idea? It was absolutely headline grabbing. Wow, the smart watch. But then what happened? This innovation almost bombed when it kind of, was originally introduced. So incremental and radical innovation go hand in hand. So incremental innovation is when there is a radical innovation and you keep making improvements in that, which are commercially very successful. Those are incremental, what you could say, innovations. So let me give you an example. Let us go back to the first iPhone. Now, many of you would say that was a fantastic idea. It changed the world. It was a radical idea. And we would rate it very, very high when it comes to innovation from an ideation perspective, because it changed the way the world communicated. But that was the first iPhone. After that, there were subsequent generations of iPhones that came. They were not radical new ideas. The original one was. But the future generations have not been radical new ideas. They've certainly been improvements. But these incremental innovations have also been very, very successful because they have been commercialized incredibly well. The execution was flawless. So while incremental ideas may be average, why they are average ideas? Because others have already done it. Introducing, for example, multiple cameras in a specific, smartphone. It's an incremental. You might say, Manoj, it's a weak idea. So many people have done it, but yet there are brands which do incredibly well, better than others, because they execute better. Not because they've come out with a feature which nobody else had, which the world really adopted, adapted, and embraced. So execution has to be brilliant to create immense value. So I just want to repeat again that all innovation does not need to change the world. There are radical innovations that are followed by many years of incremental innovation. Let's take the example of airplanes and cars. When the first airplane or the first car was built, it was radical, life-changing innovation. It changed the way we actually became mobile, right? It changed the way in which we could live. It changed the economic opportunity for all of us. But subsequently, newer advanced models kept coming over the decades. Now, you would say they were not radical innovations, but they were truly incremental innovations. And these incremental innovations over a period of time resulted in significant improvements from the point that we started. Just imagine in your mind the first aircraft, right, which was built by the Wright brothers. All of you would remember that image. It's been there in our textbook in school. And now you look at the jets which we fly around in, dramatically different, both are aircrafts. So incremental innovations over a period of time can also be very, very valuable. So I think that incremental innovations are embraced very significantly by a lot of people. They are not the sexiest ideas, but they are incredibly important. They have a very important place in the entire spectrum of innovation. You know what? The good thing about them is that they are relatively low risk. They are built on what we already know and are relatively easy to implement. Of course, as I said, they do not change the world, but they help us to do things better than before. What about radical innovation? Radical innovation, on the other hand, results in the big leap, and these are truly game changers. But then the risk is incredibly high, very difficult to implement, and it is many times about new knowledge. For example, Google, bringing the information from across the world on your fingertips. It is radical. It is game changer. It has absolutely changed the way we now have access to information across any, every, and all topics. So clearly, that's a high risk innovation, but did incredibly well. What we need to do, as I have highlighted and I have stressed, is focus on relentless execution. We have to begin by assessing what is going to be the market acceptance of this idea. Will we be able to capture the customer's imagination? Will we be able to communicate our value proposition? Are we truly differentiated? Will we truly make a difference to the lives of the customers and markets we are going after? How will we do the marketing? How will we do the packaging? How will we do the communication? How will we define the value proposition? How are we going to make sure that the outcomes that our innovation is going to deliver are going to be superior? And importantly, you have to set right the systems, because without the systems in place, you will not be able to move forward in your journey of flawless execution. You have to leverage new techniques, and I'm sure that at ITS, some of these new techniques are taught as a part of many of the courses. For example, techniques like design thinking. The journey from idea to value creation is important. You need to look at every step of that journey. You need to master each and every step and not get stuck with just this myth, oh, I don't have a brilliant idea. I don't have an iPhone light bulb moment, and therefore I cannot innovate and I cannot succeed. You can pick any idea which is already there, which has already been invented, which has already been created. As long as you think you'll be able to out-execute, you will be incredibly successful. You'll be counted as an important innovator. So I want you to look at innovation more broadly than perhaps what a lot of people have been thinking thus far. As they say, when life gives you lemons, you have to learn to make lemonade. And I want to shift gears and really talk a little bit about the opportunities that all of you have going forward in the future. I think the lessons from the pandemic are going to stand us in good stead in the decades ahead. A lot of innovation has happened and has got accelerated. And we have all seen that happening in front of our own eyes. Let's just take the case of vaccine development. Vaccines have always been developed for the last maybe 100 years. But what is very innovative this time is the speed at which we have seen new vaccines getting developed. That has been truly innovative. Everyone knows vaccines have been there, so that's not the innovative idea. The innovation has been in terms of being able to speed up the entire process of bringing it to market at scale. As you know, something which normally would have taken 7 to 10 years has happened within a year. The other innovation we are going to see is how 1.3 billion citizens of our country are going to get vaccinated in a relatively short period of time. The best we have spoken about thus far is polio vaccination of children, but this has to be done for each Indian in double quick time. So again, speed of execution here is very, very critical, and new innovative techniques and ideas from an execution perspective have to be deployed. So it is not about the ability to vaccinate a large number of people, because that's been done before. That's something we do all the time. But to do it in a very, very short period of time is where a lot of innovative thinking in systems, in execution is going to become very important. The other innovation we are all going to see is by offline brick and mortar businesses. We used to walk into malls, into shops, and pick up stuff off the shelves. And everyone realized during the pandemic that you have to learn to embrace online models. So therefore, anyone who's having a physical store is now moving to set up hybrid models. And this is going to be innovative from their perspective, and they're going to fundamentally change the narrative and the way in which they engage, interact, and serve customers. Coming from the technology area, I always give examples from technology, so pardon me for that. I think rapid transformation of all industries is occurring, driven by digital. And the reason why this has become incredibly important is that all customers that are engaging with businesses today are engaging through the lens of their smartphone. So if organizations do not engage and interact with customers through the medium through which those customers want to interact with them, they have no business. If your customer cannot reach out to you, you have no business. And if your customer is only going to reach out to you through their smartphone, then you better find a way of being able to engage with them through the medium of their smartphone. And that is where digital transformation is going to help customers succeed in that journey. So transformation to accelerate movement of businesses from the old economy to the new economy are going to become paramount. As you look at the future, many of you will have the opportunity and should pick up the opportunity of helping organizations step through this journey, because they are now going to create the bridge to move from the old to the new. Large-scale shift to digital opens huge opportunities for all of you. And all of you will get an opportunity to participate in the mainstream economy if you are able to do so, both as an entrepreneur, where you help organizations to cross the bridge, and as business executives, where you help organizations strategize on their execution plan of moving from the old world to the new world. We all recognize that technology will be at the core of every business, and many innovative technology implementations will enable restructuring of processes so that we can cater to mobile phone interactions. And I've spoken about that. Opportunities will abound in these areas. For example, movement of and migration of IT applications to the cloud. We've also seen how additional velocity and agility is created when you create marketplaces on the cloud. We all know about how Swiggy and Zomato fed us through the pandemic. I don't know how many of you used to order food through these platforms. Certainly I did a lot, because you're sitting at home, you can't go out, no restaurants. Yeah, home food is great, but then you always need a change. So these platforms, served us all well. And you can see now many of them are monetizing themselves in the stock market. So data monetization. Can customers want better deals? Tracking the digital footprint of customers without impinging on their personal data protection, without impinging on their privacy, I think is a huge opportunity for all of us. A lot of innovation can be done in this area. Looking at artificial intelligence, taking reams of data and predicting behaviors is yet another area where a lot can be done from an innovation perspective. Even traditional sectors like agriculture are embracing digital. Experiments in precision agriculture, which will dramatically improve productivity and incomes, is here to stay. Many of you would have read the newspapers today. We now have a new drone policy in India, leveraging drones for innovative applications across agriculture, transportation, logistics, and so on, open new opportunities for all of us. So I think you should keep your ears and eyes open. I am absolutely predicting to all of you, the day is not far when you will see drones flying around in our neighborhood like kites used to fly around when we were children. So there is a huge opportunity for you to leverage drones to create new innovative business models to help many, many sectors of the economy. Innovation around healthcare, safety, and sanitation, something that we learned, the lessons from the pandemic are here to stay. Last but not least of all, I would like to touch upon frugal innovation, which has been the hallmark of India. Frugal innovation is what you could say a management jargon for jugaad. Now, I know many of us laugh when we start talking about jugaad, because in our mind, jugaad is about doing something really cheap. I think it is not about doing something cheap. Frugal innovation is about doing more for less. It is not about doing something which is lightweight from a technology perspective. Frugal innovation involves intense design, but executed in a very cost-effective fashion. So as I said, everything is about execution. Fantastic, very intense design implemented in a cost-effective fashion results in dramatic innovation. And that is why the world talks about many, many examples from India around frugal innovation. You'll find tremendous amount of innovation happening in rural India. And I think that many of you can pick some of those ideas on what is happening in rural India, create scale, and absolutely create significant innovative opportunities for yourselves by focusing on the execution piece. Changing gears, irrespective of which way things turn out, one expectation that will always remain constant and consistent is the expectation of sustained outperformance. I think it starts with the way we are brought up as children. Starting from KG class, our parents are very, very eager to look at our report cards. And I can tell you that this continues through life. Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you work as a business executive, or you work in an NGO, the expectation is that you will continue to deliver sustained outperformance, and that is a realistic expectation. And that is truly the bedrock of success. Sustained outperformance will absolutely be expected from each one of you going forward in the future. Delivering outcomes is key. I want to end by sharing 5 leadership behaviors. And I always talk about these behaviors, and I've spoken about them earlier at ITS as well, which I believe are invaluable in your journey. Let me quickly share those with you before I bring my session to a close. The first is our ability to use the whole mind. We know that traditionally people believe that our left brain is the brain of logic and rationale, and the right brain is the brain of empathy and intuition. We need to be able to apply our whole mind if we have to deliver sustained outcomes. The second is to be a multiplier. Do more with less. Be a multiplier in terms of passion, energy, engagement. And innovation itself is a multiplier. Co-create value rather than being dictatorial style. Do not be a diminisher. The third is manage fear and leverage failure. It is important to take risks. When you innovate, you need to learn very quickly from your failures. You need to pivot, get up, and start again. I'm sure many of you would remember when you were young and you were learning how to cycle, you fell many times till you were able to balance yourself. Please remember that when you go through your own journey of innovation. The fourth is mindfulness. Be open to the possibilities that exist in each moment. Do not be a prisoner of the past. Don't turn around and say, oh, when I was young, when I was here, this is how things were done. And in the future, they have to be done in that fashion. That is absolutely incorrect. Creativity comes from the awareness of the possibilities that exist here and now, exist today. If one is not mindful, you will never get to know of those possibilities. So be mindful of what is happening around you. Be here and now. Have an open mind, and you will be able to deliver sustained outperformance. Last but not least of all, please make sure that you build a culture of trust. saying, doing, and thinking should be aligned. I know it is very, very difficult. The world likes shortcuts. We think something, we say something else, we do something else because we think we are the smartest and the rest of the world is less smart than us. I can tell you that my experience of life has taught me that most people around me are smarter than I am. So let me not try and follow the path of shortcuts. Societal view on values is going to be important. As you innovate, please keep your focus on the environment. We need to protect our planet. Our new age customers are rightfully altruistic. That is the least they're going to expect of you. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much, Arpit for the opportunity. Thank you very much, Professor Pandey, for inviting me.
Thank you so much, sir. We are really proud that we belong to the country of opportunities. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your knowledge with us. Definitely, sir, innovation is more about generating values, and person should be clear in attempting to achieve with innovative ideas. And we are really very thankful for your words that you have shared about the idea about radical innovation to frugal innovation, which many of us may not be aware of. Thank you so much, sir. Now, may I request our Vice Chairman, ITS Education Group, Shri Arpit Chadha, sir, for vote of thanks to our speaker, Shri Manoj Chuk, sir.
Honorable, respected Manoj Chuk, sir, it's a pleasure seeing you. It's a long time, as you rightly pointed out, that we've met physically, but we are blessed that we have people like you, stalwarts from industry who always helped us, who always helped ITS in achieving greater heights. This 5-day program on innovation, incubation, startups, and the challenges. And other than that, even the value-added diploma courses, which you've been doing from 2008. I was just speaking before you came to join in the session when the Honorable Vice Chancellor was also there. All these courses have only been possible because of stalwarts like you, sir, who always guided and helped us. Coming to your talk today, I was personally mesmerized. And I don't say that because I personally am really fond of you and I personally admire you a lot. But just as a participant, as a listener, I feel privileged that I was part of your talk. It was an eye-opener, not only for all the participants, but honestly for me as well. I was just jotting down a few things when you were saying implementation being the most important part of innovation. I also vouch for because ideas can come, but keeping it to yourself, or rather implementing it, which is the toughest part, is something which needs to be taken care of. Something I really, really liked in your 10-15 minutes interaction with all the participants. I can see 300 plus participants across the country who've joined in. You said innovation doesn't really mean something which does not exist. Innovation can always be with respect to something which exists as well. Very good example you gave of iPhone. iPhone has been existent for, I guess, more than they've launched 10, 11, 12, don't even have a count of that now. So even then, every iPhone is somewhat an innovation, which you rightly pointed out. Recently, they've come up with 2 cameras, again, an innovation. Again, something which I really liked about your talk was something which you have to create from the scratch, something which never exists, would even involve a lot of investment, would even involve a lot of risk. Henceforth, innovating in something which exists might not be the worst of the ideas and can be taken up by all the listeners, participants who are here today. In fact, sir, I will share with you kind of an innovation which we at the institute level did. These advanced diploma courses which we started in 2008, almost been 13, 14 years now. These are 100 hours properly designed courses which have been designed in talks with the corporates, which would make our students more employable. In those days, these things never exist, sir. Even today, not many institutions are doing it. They may call in a speaker for an hour, for a session or two in a month, in a year or so. However, we personally decided to make it a proper module, a proper course with our undergraduate courses, BB and BCA. If I may call it so, this was an innovation in itself, sir, to make our students more employable. And you would agree, institute like us, because we have the those values in us, that when a student enters us, we have to give the best to him or her, because it is a hard-earned money of a parent, which a parent spends and sends his or her ward to us. Truly believe in the institute like us, ITS, would make the ward a proper, what should I say, a mature individual passing out after 3 years undergraduate degree. You might get into a job, you might start your own business, but we always ensure that the best of the skills are inculcated in the students. So this was a kind of innovation which we started long back, and we are continuing with it. Continuing with what you said, there are innovation in all sorts of things. These tough times have got medicine shops doing a lot of innovations. I see a lot of television ads these days, people delivering medicines in half an hour. So medicine shops always exist. There was always home delivery available. But this was also a kind of innovation, going by what you said, sir, that anything new, if you can do, which can even upset the existing same field business people, is an innovation. So even a normal local medicine shop near our house or wherever we live, if they started a home delivery within half an hour, so there were a lot of people calling in for these medicines, and this helped a lot. Again, something which comes to my mind, sir, from your talk only, Big Basket, Geo, all these apps have been doing grocery deliveries from a long time. But recently, I personally use this app called Country Delight app. This is an innovation. Again, the similar thing exists in the market, but why it was an innovation was only because they only concentrated on the dairy products. So it attracted someone like me. It must have attracted more people like me, who would have thought, if we have to get the milk and all the dairy products, rather than a big basket which delivers all the products, rather go for a person who specializes only in dairy products. Just the psyche of a customer they touched, and this was the innovation. And I feel a lot of people like me would have used this app in the lockdown period. Again, something I said in my earlier address also, sir, lot of online payment options are there. There's Paytm, etc., etc. However, this Cred app recently said, pay your bills in the power play. India is a cricket crazy nation. So this was again an innovation as such, because they connected to the customer via something which everyone is quite familiar with, quite crazy about. That is a cricket crazy nation India is. So paying your bills during the power play, you can get 100% cash back. Again, something which exists already, but this was a kind of innovation which they did. Personally, sir, I've always admired you. You've always helped me as an individual. You always helped us as an organization. Your thoughts are always our top priority. I once again would like to thank you from bottom of my heart for sparing your valuable time. Time is the most important thing. All the innovation and everything could come in, because time would make it possible. On a lighter note, sir, once again, heartfelt thanks, and thank you, sir, for always being there. And I hope your blessings would always be there with me and the institute as a whole. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Arpit. And again, I totally agree with everything that you have said. I would like to encourage, we have more than 300 participants in the event. I'd like to encourage each one to think like an innovator and take up some project and at least roll up their sleeves and try innovation, even if it is not something that is up your sleeve. Even if tomorrow you join an organization as a business executive, this learning will be invaluable, because you have to be innovative, whether you work in a large organization or you're an entrepreneur. So you have the opportunity, you're getting all the academic input. Each one perhaps should look at some innovation. And Arpitji, as you rightly said, I mean, if somebody can, we all always knew, right? Cow's milk was available, but we were never very comfortable because we didn't know whether it's going to be hygienic or not. And we also use as a family Country Delight. But the moment they came, we embraced. So it's an age-old idea, from our grandparents' time, but we were just not comfortable. We were happy to go to Mother Dairy XYZ, and then Country Delight came. So I think, let's look at existing ideas. I'm not saying if some of you are very creative, by all means, please invent. But just because you've invented doesn't mean you're going to be successful innovator, right? Execution is important, but I'm saying let's even take existing ideas. Arpit, as you said, somebody has a chemist shop. Maybe somebody can do a very good innovative IT application and speed up delivery or offer some more innovative services. That's a good idea. So we have 300 people here. I would like each one of you to pick an idea, whether new or existing, and make sure you focus on execution piece, right? Because you have that training, you're getting the academic input, and then see what happens to your innovation. And I'll not be surprised if half of you, before you graduate, turn around and say, I am getting angel funding, and I am off, and thank you very much. And maybe they give employment to the other colleague and say, chal tu mere saath aaja, kahan naukri dhoond raha hai, right? And going to get angel funding and let's work together. So if you take 300 ideas, and I'm saying if 40, 50 of them you're able to execute while you're studying, right? Each one of you can then engage and become a part of one of those 50 ideas that you want. You go out and you create your own ecosystem. You don't have to wait for companies to turn up to campus X, Y, and Z. RPG will organize a lot of angel investors to come in and do a Shark Tank in your campus. He will invite them and say, look, here are 50 ideas that these 300 kids have put together, and they'll come and share with you what their experience on the execution has been. If you believe in any, go ahead. So I think, RPG, that's my challenge to you. My challenge to you is that there will be a graduating class which will be self-employed, the whole class before they leave, either on their own or with their friends, getting together to take some of these ideas and give them wing. That is what India needs. And that is when we will move from top 3 to number 1. So wish you all the very best, and congratulations for your efforts. Thank you for inviting.
Sure, sir. So thank you. So we'll take in your idea, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir,
Thank
for
you.
your kind presence in this summit. Thank you, sir. Lieutenant Colonel Prashant Mishra, sir, has joined us. We welcome you in this virtual summit, sir. Nation comes first always and every time. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, our next eminent speaker believes in this quote. Now, before inviting our speaker, Lieutenant Colonel Prashant Mishra, sir, I would like to introduce him. Lieutenant Colonel Prashant Mishra, sir, Assistant Vice President, Tata Teleservices. His professional titles have ranged from Assistant Vice President to Engineering and Head of Telecom Products to Project Manager. He is also an innovator, a visionary, a storyteller, a leader, a problem solver, and a collaborative business partner. At the start of his career, he joined the National Defense Academy after being inspired by a war hero. He got commissioned in the Corps of Signals, where he gained valuable experience in combat communications, signal intelligence, tactical networks, strategic networks, electronic warfare, official oversight. This experience paved the way for a successful career in engineering and product innovation. As a senior engineering leader, he developed an accomplished background leading the design, rollout, and enhancement of technologies that support business goals, organizational transformation, and innovation. He is specialized in developing and implementing processes and solutions that redefine operational value, stimulate performance improvements, and meet regulatory and business requirements. He is also experienced in building and leading high-performance teams and establishing positive cultures focused on productivity and performances. His key achievements include state the Command Information Decision Support System project for Bharat Electronics Limited, leveraging his strengths gained during the time of his service in Indian Army, as well as training IMA NDA to ensure the project success. Lead team of 124 engineers through the design and launch of hardware and software for secured converged communication system used by armed forces. Hired by Vihan Networks Limited to lead the software-defined radio project for the Indian Army. I request and invite Sir for his address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you to the faculty members, Dr. Pandey, and all present, Arpit. Basically, I'll start my lecture. I'll just share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, I'll start off with innovation is the most important driver of macroeconomics today. This is come out very clearly in all the economic drivers, and the examples that I will give will prove it. It is the engine of economic growth and competitive advantage worldwide. It is how do you define innovation? So innovation is invention plus exploitation. So you have an invention, take a tangible invention and apply it in pioneering ways to reach the user. That is what we have been talking of in the other sessions. The development of iPod was based on the basic invention of MP3 player technology. The iPod was a mixture of aesthetic and ease of use and graceful ergonomics. Only technology it involved was of MP3. Similarly, the IBM PC did not involve any new invention. It only involved getting all these inventions together into a single box. So the team was asked to deliver a PC within 18 months. So every company needs more innovation today that is being felt, and having an innovation strategy can make or break the success of a company, because basically the profit margins are driven by innovation. Although there are various types of innovation strategies, which are free to choose a strategy. So innovation strategies they don't lock you. We are free to choose any of the, like Chuk Saab was mentioning, frugal innovation. So in case of India, frugal innovation has come out to be the mainstay approach. But if you talk about what is innovation as such, so then we come into design thinking. A standard innovation consists of design thinking, and design thinking has 3 stages. One is the inspiration stage, one is the ideation stage, and one is the implementation stage. So in case of the inspiration stage, you get inspired by a problem that you have to solve. In case of ideation, you ideate as to how you will solve that problem. And implementation is you create a kind of prototype. And if at any of the stage, you have to loop back to the previous stage. You loop back to the previous stage, have one more round, and create a more matured viewpoint of that idea, and then go to the next stage. So in inspiration, you go to the field, you collect the pain points. Sometimes you may have the data points in the network itself from the use of the applications they were saying, the applications that were being mentioned in the previous talk, that medicine delivery application or the cattle product application. So all these applications are there, but they have got pain points, and we have to resolve those pain points. And hence, an inspiration can come from either if there is a new pain point in the market, or there is a existing pain point from a previous application. Ideation. Once a pain point is there, then we go through the stage in which we generate a lot of ideas as to how we solve it, and then we narrow it down, and then there is a convergent and divergent thinking, and then we ideate it multiple times to come to a narrowed down option, and then the implement. So in case of implementation, we quickly create prototypes, and those prototypes are based on whatever we ideate, and those prototypes are taken to the field, and we collect feedback on those prototypes, and we reiterate. We again take feedback from the field, whether the prototype is working fine, or there are some changes required. Now, example is James Dyson. He was inspired by a centrifuge, which was used to remove paint particles from air without using bags in 1983, and it underwent 5,127 prototypes. So there is this prototyping which can repeat actually in case of Procter and Gamble embraced innovation under former CEO uh, Lafley. During his tenure, Procter and Gamble value increased more than $100 billion. And in 2000, it had $10 billion consumer brands. Today, it has 22. Kaiser Permanente is the largest not-for-profit health provider in USA. The results speak for themselves. Improved patient health, satisfaction, soundness of sleep of healing, and cost control. Square is particularly associated with innovation since its plug-in device helped millions of mobile vendors and small business owners to do cash exchange. So these are some of the companies who have emulated innovation in the past, and they have got the innovation thing in the right angle. About 25 years ago, Japan was touted as the leader of the business economy, and Germany as the runner-up, and United States in the third place of GDP in the new millennium. Because Japanese were coming out with new inventions and patents and other things at a very rapid pace. But now it is clear that those economies lost the bet. The United States GDP is currently 12.3 trillion, exceeding the current GDP of Japan and Germany by 8 and 10 trillion respectively. So what happened to make United States soar above the economist's predictions? The answer is innovation. So this is one of the things that actually is very important, where invention has not won the day for countries and innovation has won the day. So there are innovation strategies that we need to know before we delve into the challenges that we have to face. Google has more than 60,000 employees, dozens of products, and 75 billion in revenue. Its mission is never fail to fail. So one of their tenets is to learn from the mistakes and correct them fast. They are not afraid to fail. They use innovation strategies to take risks and succeed. Its parent company, Alphabet, does not rely on one, but combines multiple strategies to create powerful innovation engine. So Google relies on failure and quickly recovering from failure as their innovation strategy. So the entire innovation effort is towards inventing ways or innovating ways to go around their failure. Apple, the vision of Apple as stated by Steve Jobs was and remains to make contribution to the world by making tools for the mind that advance human kind. This had Apple's influence on innovation culture. It relies on a centralized structure. Those with the most expertise and experience in a domain have maximum decision rights for their domain. Apple picks leaders with deep expertise in an area instead of choosing someone with best skills and talent for general management. Earlier strategy of outsourcing R&D initiative has been changed to developing companies in-house through internal accelerators while also acquiring startups. This has led them to grow 260 billion to a 260 billion company with more than 137,000 employees. Samsung. So one of the Samsung's innovation effort is to discover and develop groundbreaking technology that will make people's lives happier, healthier, and richer. This activity helps them to work directly with best and brightest startups and help accelerate their innovation projects while amplifying the synergy within Samsung. So Samsung's innovation strategy is incremental. Curved mobile phone screens or foldable phones are the other prime examples. Its R&D arm is exploring AI, digital health, and Internet of Things, autonomous mobiles, digital data center infrastructure, security, privacy, and more. Samsung also strategically invests in a range of external initiatives to co-create businesses. So this is the innovation strategy of Samsung. In case of Amazon, they have achieved the impossible year-over-year growth uh, it is not just the R&D arm, but the entire Amazon as such, where their innovation strategy is displayed. They have a centralized kind of a innovation. They have it drives from top downwards. The CEO, Jeff Boss, uh, spends a lot of his time thinking about how the world will look 3, 5, 10 years from in the future, and he sets up goals for his company, and those goals are followed. So most executives are focused on the results within a year or in the next year. So it is a very focused, goal-based approach. Tesla, in case of Tesla, critics thought that Elon Musk was out of touch and will fail sooner than later. But Tesla has been the highest performing automaker in terms of total returns, sales, and shareholder value. Tesla's innovation strategy focuses on how to win support for a disruptive idea and bring new technologies to the market. Its strategy works under two pillars: headline grabbing moves, betting big on its core vehicles. The way Tesla operates its core product architecture, positioning itself in key is a key bottleneck. Has helped it build an innovation capital to win resources and support it to execute its vision. Elon Musk has replicated this in the space venture with the Starship program. Incubation. Now, when we talk about these strategies, I just gave you a viewpoint of these strategies to get so that you get a kind of a view as to how worldwide innovation strategies are being shaped, and then we will look at how in India they are different. So incubation is a stage that comes immediately after we have created an innovation idea, and that idea is accepted as a good business deal, and then we have to set up a small business entity which has to be given a space to nurture and grow. So that is what incubation is, where a business entity growing an innovative idea is given a space to nurture and grow. That is what incubation is. And a startup, whether we call it a startup or we call it incubation, both of them are typically the same kind of ventures. And now I'll come to incubation in India. So India is 48th among 131 countries in the Global Innovation Index in 2020. And in case of World Intellectual Property Organization ranking, we were 4 steps higher than our position in 2019. This is the first time that India is ranked among the top 50 innovative countries in the world. Within 6 years, our rank rose from 86th in the world to 48th. So we have been very innovative in the space sector already. The ISRO has been having a groundbreaking streaks in low-budget flights. To our vaccination program, that has also been one of the world's very innovative and very rapidly deployed program. And in the last decade, we have seen a lot of Indians who have reached the international market with product services like Forest Essential, Lenskart, Zomato, Ola, etc. It's no surprise that India's youth is considered one of the most informed today. So the Indian scene, as we see it, is similar to the design thinking innovation as we had discussed earlier. And in case of Indian scene, what is happening is our own local brands are the ones who have become the winners. And like we have also discussed in the previous talk, our local brands are winning, and they are winning very fast. Uh, uh, and Ayurved is one where uh, we have won very well. And these frames of growth are created around our local brands. Then most of our when we go to that uh, inspiration stage, most of our key focus is on creating new products and services around pain points and unmet needs of specific user groups, because we have got very large type of disparate population. The solutions that are being created, generic solutions which are being created, are not okay with all the groups. So there are these new solutions which are coming out where a specific group is being focused, and that group is like in case of the cattle products mentioned by in the previous during the previous talk. So that these things are the ones which are driving the Indian innovation market as far as the online these products are concerned. And Dukan is one excellent case in point, which understood which platforms like Shopify will not be able to add. Then framing strength of the business. So in an existing business where certain changes could be done to the product design and pricing, and and that brand could capture strong footprint, not just in India but multiple other countries. Bajaj Auto was one of them. So Bajaj took its flagship model Pulsar and started to create multiple specs under 200cc motorbikes, which today dominates its exports to developing countries like Nepal, Thailand, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Latin American markets. So it did not make any major change to the motorcycle, but just small little changes to cater to the market's specific requirements. So with this, we come to the challenges. Now, challenges that are being faced by the innovation infrastructure in the country. First and foremost is that the academy and industry, they are not connected. Like in case of the foremost innovation countries like the United States, they have got universities which have got incubation centers established by the industry uh, in their infrastructure itself, which helps out with incubation of startups. And these startups, once they fan out, once they are successful, so when they get the seed capital and seed support, so once they are successful, so then they are able to contribute back, and they have the freedom to join the parent industry, the industry which actually invested initially, or create their own brand. So this is one thing that has happened, which is not been there with Atal Innovation Mission in collaboration with institutions in countries like Switzerland and UK. Slowly, the startup thing is coming up, at least in IITs, foremost IITs like Kanpur. There is a strong startup initiative. there is a fundamental change required as far as the thinking process is concerned. So the acceptance of taking a risk at the academia level, the acceptance of the risk is required, requires fundamental change in the thought process. And if that risk is accepted, then these incubation and startups will get more support, and they may have to be supported year over year. It may not be possible for these startups to be independent within the first year or within the second year. So maybe it may require support for year over year, and till they get the independent startup, till they become independent, they will be required to be supported. So that is one of the fundamental changes in thinking required. So top institutions are still focused on being teaching institutions. The research done in universities are linked with the industry or real world problems. So there are these teaching institutions which are not getting connected to the industry at the right level. Here, ITS has been slightly different, and there will be a lot of industry academia exchanges that ITS has done, which most of the other institutions are not doing as of now. So that is one challenge. Interdisciplinary and international collaborations are the need of that to ensure maximum impact to output. So there are interdisciplinary where some breakthrough thinking is required. There are some different subjects and different headings on which we need to undertake the innovation thought process. So because innovation is something that does not limit you, and we may have to think interdisciplinary number of times in order to think out of the box and generate a new idea. So that part is required and is probably lacking. So the recommendation is that it is a time that Indian education system starts taking the risk. The national education policy, which is recently announced, will actually help out, but the right implementation can prove instrumental. So we are somewhere near a edge where we can become a good innovation center as a country. But there are challenges which are there. It's not that innovation is not happening. Innovation is happening, but it is not happening in the scale that we as a country require, actually. So by 2025, we'll have around 100 new successful startups, and the innovation scene is going to get 3x more robust, exciting, and evolved as more categories become ripe, and the key will lie in our ability to create with people the heart of the innovation process. So with that, I come to the end of my talk. Basically, what I have tried to state is that innovation is a process that is innovation is a process that requires out of the box thinking, and it requires a lot of support once you have thought about what is the way out of a problem and a pain point. There are a lot of pain points that exist outside in the society, and we can pick up any of these pain points and take those pain points, take them into a solution box. And once we have a solution, we have to come out with a quick prototype and have that prototype implemented, get feedback from the market. It's very easy nowadays to build an Android application, put it in the marketplace, and start getting the feedback on your application. And there are a lot of pain points. Only thing is you have to hit the right pain point. It's with that I end up my lecture. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your knowledge with all of us. Nowadays, and even more after the COVID pandemic, innovation has become the backbone of every industry. And the educational sector is also taking part in nurturing their students to become the entrepreneurs. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your view with us. Now, may I request our Director, IT and UG, Dr. Sunil Kumar Pandey, sir, for vote of thanks to our speaker, Lieutenant Colonel Prashant Mishra, sir. Sir. Director, sir. Am I audible to you, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Just a minute, sir. I'm just a minute. Sir, I think he is having some network issue. Hello?
Okay, no issues.
We are really very thankful for your time you have spared from your busy schedule for this summit, sir. And
Okay.
we look forward for more sessions from your side for our new entrepreneurs or our new students. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir? Sir, Lieutenant Colonel Prashant Mishra, sir, is with us, and he has concluded his session. I request you to please deliver the vote of thanks to Lieutenant Colonel Prashant Mishra, sir. Sir, you are mute.
I was not able to switch on my camera. Anyway, thank you. Thank you, Professor Pooja Dharji. So, it is always knowledge enriching experience to listen you, because the kind of perspective you always bring out, especially we in last 5 days we have been listening to different experts on different verticals, including from academic perspective, from research perspective, from IPR, patents, to especially defense sector. When Major General Sasi Asthana Sahab had also joined us, then Major General Sasi Asthana sir, and we all came to know a very unique perspective, because for all of us it was really eye-opening in businesses through journals, through magazines, newspapers, and different reports. We try to keep ourselves up to date. But when it comes to defense sector, it is very less talked about thing among civilians. But the way we all were illuminated by the experts during these 5 days, it was really eye-opening, and it gave very enriching information that the kind of entrepreneurial opportunities exist in different sector too. Today, in your discussion, the different use cases what you discussed about different organizations, it is something which helps us in understanding that how these innovations are being done, what kind of challenges these innovations in the process of getting things done exist, and how to counter all these aspects. And I'm really thankful personally too, and on behalf of Institute too, that whenever we have requested you, we approached you, you have always been there with your blessings, with your all kind of support in all our endeavors, and probably that is our strength, where we dare to plan events like this, because we know we have backing of people like you, who has always been inspiring us, motivating us, and always standing with us. On behalf of Institute, on behalf of all the participants, sir, I wish to thank you, and we look forward to your continued support and blessings in all our future endeavors. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your benign presence in this summit. Sir, Jackson, sir, has not joined yet.
Let me see. Let me see.
Yes, sir.
He must be.
There is also one announcement that those students who had participated yesterday in the national level online quiz, after this session, we will be announcing the names of winners. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Jackson sir. KP Singh ji, please make RK Jackson ji as co-host.
Done, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. We welcome you in this virtual summit, sir.
Still, we are in good morning stage. Good morning, Jackson
Good
sir.
morning. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone.
Now, before inviting our next speaker, Mr. R.K. Jackson, sir, I would like to introduce him. Mr. R.K. Jackson, Senior Director and Head IT in CEDO. Mr. R.K. Jackson is a curious, visionary senior technology professional with more than 20 years of insightful experience in IT infrastructure design, implementation, and operations with strong service management, leadership, and digital transformation skills. He's determined to deliver value to the customers and the business through lean and design thinking. He's having a strong focus towards digital transformation and UX by utilizing emerging technologies we have together to create desired business outcomes. 5G, IoT, quantum computing, data analytics, blockchain, digital marketing, and social media, multi-cloud coverage, software-defined architectures, deep learning, and AI accelerators and automation. Highly passionate towards cybersecurity and privacy, and capable to design competent and secure architecture. Exceptional leadership and team building potential. Lead large-sized global team and global clients in multi-vendor environment. IT strategy planner and PL&I management skills. Very strong IT service management implementation capabilities. Client relationship management and negotiation skills. He's having numerous global and national recognitions in his credit. Top 20 cybersecurity influencer in India by Cisco platform. Volunteered and trained 8,000 plus college students into cybersecurity across multiple universities in India. CIO award by CIO magazine. Versatile CIO award by CIO magazine and IDG, the highest recognition in enterprise IT. CIO 100 honoree by CIO Asia magazine and International Data Corp. Accreditations and professional certificates are into his credit, like corporate finance from IIBM, cybersecurity risk management, network security from Rocher Institute of Technology, Google Cloud Certified Security Specialization, Quantum Machine Learning University from Toronto, IoT System Design and Architecture from Waseda University, Contract Law from Harvard Law Business School, and the list is many more. I request and invite R.K. Jackson, sir, for his session.
Thank you so much, Pooja ma'am, and thank you so much, Sunil sir, and all the faculty members from ITS. It actually appears on, I feel like speaking to my family every time I'm invited at ITS, because it's a long association going back into multiple years. And first of all, thanks for joining in today and inviting me at the very first point that I wanted to appreciate and admire. Thank you. The agenda for today is quite, I would say, energy. I mean, it's full of energy. It's around startups, it's around research, a lot of stuff. But let me just start about something quite different. And that's around skill set. So let's first talk about skill set, and I'll then definitely talk about the other subsequent aspects. And why I'm talking about skill set, let me first explain the foundational reason. Skill sets actually define how we move ahead in our current phase at this point in time. Now, in today's world, versus the generation that I have been, and most of us from the faculty must have experience, we are coming from a generation in India, especially in India, where we have a very straightforward roadmap for the academics. We pursue our academics, we pursue, let's say, graduation, post-graduation, and then from our generation standpoint, there weren't any online portals like Naukri or something. At this point in time today, we are fortunate to have all these agile platforms. But from the earlier days, it was very difficult to get to have a job post your education. And it actually needed a lot of rigorous efforts. There was employment news, you need to register yourself against the employment news, you get your ID, follow up with them. The jobs used to come through postal mail, some offers, and then you either choose or move ahead and go for the interview. So those interview calls used to come through the postal mails. Now we have emails and all, over the phone, Zoom, everything, all quick, agile. We used to get job options, go through those classified. How many of us still look for jobs in the newspapers? There may be very few, but we used to go through all those transformational phase where there were jobs, small advertisements, and then we used to in person reach out, appear for the interview, get selected, or either get rejected or get another, move on, and so on. So it was quite a complex phase. And now today, if we look at it, everything is agile, everything is digital. So the generation, from the transformation from our generation to today's generation has been substantial transformation. And that means, and if we actually introspect this entire aspect, at that point in time, the availability of job was, we need to go in the direction of job to get a job. We need to find job. In today's world, jobs are coming to us. It's actually the complete, the dynamics have changed. So we are not actually approaching to the job. Jobs are coming to us. You'll get calls from recruiters. You'll get calls from various consultants that we have an opportunity. Would you like to be, would you be interested? That never used to happen. So that is again, and that's not only about skill sets. That's not only about jobs. If you look at every aspect has transformed in this manner, where we used to approach stuff. Nowadays, or the transformation has happened, that stuff now approaches us. It may be anything. You can introspect, you can look at aspects, correlate. It has changed. What exactly it means? It means, again, it actually means the proportion, the balance of supply and demand should be in place. Otherwise, there would be imbalance. And by supply and demand, I mean, if there is a supply and if there is a demand. By supply, I mean the skill sets. If we have X number of candidates, students, people with a specialization in a particular skill set, and that's the supply. What is the demand? The demand is the number of requirements for that particular skill set. And since demand reaches the supply, since jobs are coming to us, since demand is coming to the supply, that means we have less of choice versus the choices we used to have. What I'm trying to emphasize is a very important aspect is to continuously skill ourselves, to add skills from time to time, add new skills, add every other skill, be inquisitive, be creative, and then try to add more skills. It may be of your track. If you are, let's say, if you are into business administration, try learning security, try learning technology. That would also help. That would add skills into your entire portfolio. So that's one. Now there is a super transformation of this entire situation at this point in time. The real corporate problem that we are experiencing at this moment, I've actually written an article on this. It's there over LinkedIn. The current challenge, the biggest, and that's kind of an explosive challenge. It's an explosive challenge around the demand and supply. What is happening? What we are experiencing from a corporate environment or from corporate perspective? The supply is there, the demand is there, but since the supply is less, the demand is okay, or it's fine to pay whatever it may be to get that supply. In more simplified manner, if I have a particular skill, let's say I have a DevOps skills, which is a software development skill in a particular field. And that skill may be a niche skill. That may be less in niche skill means the demand is there, but supply is less. I mean, there are very few people, less people in the market who have that, who possesses that skill. Now, since the supply is huge and there are less people, those people will move across organizations. There may be TCS, I mean, not just putting in names, but just as an example, there may be TCS, there may be Capgemini, there may be Mahindra, there may be any other companies, there may be Amazon, Google's and all, trying to get that supply. And let's say it's a particular person. So the first offer, I mean, they get one single offer, the first offer to, let's say, an organization A makes an offer to a person a candidate, the organization B will add to that particular offer and again offer that candidate so that the candidate joins the second organization. The third organization adds on top of these two offers and try to capture this candidate. And this vicious cycle continues. And I'm experiencing this. There are people, there are candidates who are getting 300% of hikes just because one organization, another organization, and they are actually auctioning their skills. The skills are being auctioned at this point in time. And this entire vicious bubble is only because of lack of skill sets, because the supply is less. The day the supply increases, the day we add more skills, this vicious circle will break. And eventually, I mean, this is actually, it's a problem. It's a problem that we all need to solve all together. And that's why I'm actually sharing this amongst this group, so that we look out for niche skills and try gaining them, so that this vicious bubble breaks up. The reason behind that is why this bubble should break. Imagine a person who is 2 years of experience in particular skill set. The current compensation may be X, and the second compensation with the 2 years of experience is 300% of X. Would that person, I mean, would that particular profile be saleable for a length of time? Would that skill continue? I mean, would that actually be a justified compensation for that particular person? No, because the organization, now from the other side, organization may be paying those candidates at this point in time just because to capture that particular skill. But again, organization is also making revenue out of these skills, these candidates, because these candidates, when they join as employees, they work and help organization to generate revenue. Now, if I'm supposed to get a person, let's say at X amount, but I'm getting that person at 300% of that X, my gross margin will reduce as a company. And since that gross margin will reduce, eventually it will impact to my revenue. And there would be a point when I will stop getting these skills from the market. I'll train them internally in my organization. Because I'm not able to get that gross margin, I'm actually not able to make that business. So to prevent that kind of a recession or pandemic of skill deficit, it's very important for all of us to continue to sharpen our saw. So with that, I want to start and take this forward. Now, the agenda is around startups. Agenda is about being creators. However, this also involves my briefing around the initial briefing also involves around this exactly same mindset. Because when we create an organization, we are on the other side. We may be needing manpower, we may be needing technology. And if you look at all the startups, all the unicorns, these organizations are running on the foundation of niche skills. And again, if we go into analytics, there may be funding to these organizations, but many of the renowned startups are running under big losses. Big losses. It was in the news very recently that SEBI, which is a governing authority for stock exchange and all, so they should also govern before the organization go into public. This should also look at what level of losses and what level of revenue they have been generating. So only those which are revenue generating should be entitled to go public. However, it's currently not the case. A lot of non-revenue generating organizations are also going public. So On the other hand, if we work upon creativity and create small startups, we would need skills. Imagine again, let's imagine everyone is an entrepreneur today. Let's imagine we establish a small in-house startup. And for that, either we as individuals who are starting the company, we invest our learning, but eventually we will need people. And when we need those people, again, there would be a challenge around skill set, which is a deficit skill set. Every skill set, and it's not few skill set, every current emerging technology skill sets are deficit in the market. And that vicious cycle is going from both ends. People are it's actually going at a very very high spike, where people are enjoying the 300% of remuneration at this point in time. It's actually at a very top edge of that graph. And that graph may fall anytime the moment the organization decide to create skill sets in-house. And because organization will eventually look at the margins, the gap between the manpower investment versus what they're generating out of that manpower. Either they automate, either they create those skill sets. And again, a very important aspect, I'll join the dots again. All of us will play a very important role to break this gap, even if we are making no efforts. I may sound a little complicated, but just listen in and try to empathize this entire aspect. All of us who are here today are naturally solving this problem. How? Major big organization, this actually creates a lot of pool for campus recruitments. The competition, let's say the competition with me, who is 20 plus years into industry, technology, skill sets, my competition is with you. My competition is with you. My competition is not with my peers. By you, I mean all those who are currently pursuing your education and you are just about to step outside. That's where the competition of those who may have a tenure-based experience, length of experience, versus people who are very, I won't use the term fresh, but those who are coming off campus. Because the transformation, again, if you see, 20, 25, whatever years ago, when we moved out of our graduation or our masters or whatever, all that we had was that education. But today, when we are moving out of the final year, it's not only the education, it actually, we are coming up with a lot of hands-on experiences, lot of practical experiences. Practicality was missing in previous decades. And that's why I say the competition is with you, because you are those people, all members who are moving off campus and stepping into the corporate, or let's say entrepreneurship, or let's say their professional journey. The competition of today's experienced people is with all those, because they carry skill set and they may not be, it's not necessary, because people do get high size, big size packages, but comparatively, if we look at, there may be people who with 30 years of experience taking crores of annual compensation. So it's actually a very good comparative competition, where people coming from practical experience poses as challenge to the existing market and solve this problem of the revenue gap, the gross margin. So organization will prefer people coming out from colleges versus those who are experienced. So that's how I'm actually giving you the equation. Reason being, they are more skill set, they have better skill set, more real-time skill set, the current technologies they are abreast with. But on top of that, the value is they also enable the organization in maintaining that gross margin. Right. So with that, if it's a very sensitive topic, if you want to have a conversation offline around it and around what you need to do to make sure that you sail up, I'm happy to take offline question and answers as well. But with the current journey, as I close, with the current journey from entrepreneurship or safety professionals, it's very important to look at the overall models that we work upon. And few of the advice that I give to everyone when I am conducting interviews or I'm interacting with people is you should be aware about what is happening outside in the market. You should have excellent communication skills. If you are able to communicate, if you are able to simplify, if whatever you learn or whatever you know, if you are able to simplify that stuff and explain to a 5-year-old, that means you know that stuff there. That's one. Second is, if you are able to communicate very strongly, assertively, that is again a very important critical need, because without which, and it's again, you might have seen that in your classes or in your batches, or even as you move on, you'll see there would be people who would have strong, high potential, high skills, but they do not communicate well, but they are introverts. They are shy to speak. How would people know about it? Again, there is a transformation of what it has been and transformation of what it is now. In our generation, we were told, I mean, from our parents, grandparents, we were advised not to talk about your capabilities and be modest. Hindi mein kehte hain, apne muh mein mittu. That used to be what we were taught. Ki apne bare mein aap mat bolo, let the world talk about it. It has transformed. It has completely transformed. If you are not talking about yourself, you are missing the race, because the competitiveness, the speed of decision making has transformed very rapidly. People take 3 to 4 seconds. 3 to 4 seconds. The standard rate of going through a resume of an HR person is 3 to 4 seconds. They glance through the CV. Unless and until we talk about what we have, we talk about what we can offer, we are not saleable, even though we know everything. So again, communication is one of the major aspects to outperform. Second is always adding more skills, new skills, being abreast with the market, being aware. Lot of interviews that I take. I mean, for example, a real-time example, I was conducting an interview. The candidate was very technical, very proficient, but I asked about a lot of current scenarios, if he's aware about what is happening in the outside world. And that person wasn't aware, because he might be completely focused in those technicalities. And we didn't shortlist that person for that specific reason. Because if the person is not inquisitive to know what's happening outside, they may follow a straightforward pattern, and we may not get the right result. If I mean, for somebody, or if there's a very important, again, with AI. Somebody, I was in a panel where I was talking about AI and all that stuff, and integrating with human capital and all. What is what is the transformation? There is a gig economy. If you read about what exactly gig economy means, it's a very important thing. So you can go ahead and read about gig economy. Very important thing is the future is going to, the current and future is going to transform in a way where anything that is not adding human intelligence can be done by AI or robots. And now look at your entire day. What all things that you do which does not need human intelligence? That can all be done by bots, everything can be done by AI engines because that can be trained. Only thing that needs high human decision making, high level of sensitive human decision making, that would require humans. Again, another post. Very recently I posted with a graph. It's a McKinsey report over LinkedIn. It has 4 boxes. That talks about the skill sets of today and tomorrow. And very few skill sets are technology and technical skills. So do read about it. You can Google it over McKinsey and then look at the post over LinkedIn. But that is what the skill sets, the capabilities are transforming. So communication 1, skill sets being transformational is 2. And talking about what we know, it's very important being abreast with what is happening outside in the market, and looking at the third, the final aspect is what every time, not at the start of the day or not towards the end of the day. The days are now so divided and so much cut it short that every few minutes, every few tasks that we do, ask yourself that, is this task that I'm performing, does that task requires my intelligence, or that can be done by robots or by any AI engine? If that is the case, then take your focus away from that, because eventually that job will not exist. The jobs will transform, and jobs are only around human intelligence. It's very rapid. It's very strongly moving into this direction. I'll take a pause. I wanted to make sure that I've comprised the content into 30 minutes. And I'll take a pause for any questions. Happy to answer.
So there is one question that how should I know that I am ready for entrepreneurship?
Okay. Okay. A very straightforward answer to this is, people, let me give you an analogy. So, and not an analogy even, it's just a kind of a storytelling. Let me ask, there's a situation. You're at your house, or you're working in some particular company, and there is a problem. There is a software code that has gone bad, and you solved that problem, and the entire team applauded. Would that motivate you? The answer lies or hides inside this question.
So one more question can I ask?
Sure, let me, yeah.
How to get a unique idea for becoming entrepreneur? As in today's scenario, a lot of new innovative things are happening all around.
Sure. So let me first answer the first question. So in that particular situation, if there's the situation is there's a problem in the enterprise code, you're working in an organization and that code has gone bad, and you solve that problem, you solve that code, and that problem is solved. And although you are entitled, you are actually managing that entire code from start. It was designed by you, everything was taken care by you, but there was a problem in that code, you solved that problem, and everybody recognized that effort, that yes, there was a problem and you solved it, and everybody applauded. You solved a problem. The term is you solved a problem. Will that make you motivated? Will that make you energized? The answer of the first question is in this question. If this makes you energized, if this makes you motivated, then you need to rework in your entrepreneurship thought process. Because entrepreneurs are not problem solvers. Entrepreneurs are problem preventers. Entrepreneurs needs a mindset that prevents problem from happening, not solve the problem. If you're solving a problem, you are in a service mindset. If you are preventing a problem, you are in an entrepreneurship mindset. So if you create products, if you create environments which would solve issues from happening or problems from happening, or customers' problem would never exist in the first place, then that means you have an entrepreneurship mindset. And it doesn't mean that if I still continue, because most of us, 90% of people are problem solvers. We solve problems, we don't prevent problems, because preventing problem does not have that recognition. Right? Bomb explode hone wala tha, but you prevented from that explosion from happening. It's completely different from prevention and solving the problem after the issue that had happened. So that's answer to the first question. Second is being curious, reading about or knowing about. Just prepare yourself continuously for UPSC's examination. That will how you can develop your skill sets toward entrepreneurship. You can be innovative, because if you are continuously studying about those aspects, you are learning about politics, you are learning about what's happening in different countries, you'll learn about technologies, you'll learn about laws, you'll learn about everything. And when you have that view, that 35,000 feet view, you would actually generate thought processes for entrepreneurship. Because that is how innovation happens. Innovation doesn't happen in a small box and in a straightforward approach. It needs a very wide vision, not only in a 180-degree view, it should be a 360-degree view. You should have visibility of everything, even of your back. You should be able to see every side of it. Any more questions?
So one last question, how to overcome from the fear of losing business?
This will continue to happen. We should not be, first of all, there is no fear. There should not be any fear. And if we are having a fear of losing business, that means we are not transforming. We are not transforming. Our business will be lost if we are not transforming our business so that it is actually meant for the customers. Okay. So first of all, there should not be any fear. Second aspect to that is we should always look at our business, look at the education. The way we are learning in this past 1.5 years, the way we have been learning, we have been attending classes, it has transformed. Everything has transformed. And if we are agile enough, if we are innovative enough to make sure that what we are doing is solving the situation and making the customers or the end users' life easy, there should not be any fear. Hotel industries, yes, there is a fear of people going outside. That's why they are impacted with that particular business. But if the hotel industries are proactive enough, what they are doing, they are making sure that their environment, what they did first of all, they transformed their business during the pandemic to make sure first they helped. They created those, they converted their hotels into hospitals. And that was voluntary. I mean, that was not business, part of the business, but that was actually a transformation, utilization, what we have for the current situation. And later on, they redesign their hotels in such a manner that whosoever is their customer, they realize, they feel that yes, this is the safest place, even safer than home. If people need quarantine, they go into the hotel and they get the luxury, they get the assistance and everything with all those hygienes. So transforming, being parallel to that pace and transforming the business, so it should never have that level of fear ever.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
Sir, one question is from Yogesh. What are the barricades at the way of entrepreneur?
Barricades. Okay. Again, the points that I talked about, if you focus into these areas, first, be a problem preventer. Present yourself, whatever you have, you should be an excellent communicator because you should be able to communicate your thought processes. Read about elevator pitch. Read about elevator pitch. Google it, elevator pitch. This is, or even just Google over YouTube, Shark Tank. So these are few, what do we call, few series or few videos about presenting your entrepreneurship to a group of investors. It's like 5 minutes people get. They present their product, their vision, and there are investors sitting in front of them, and they make the investment upfront or decline the investment. So with that, you'll get to know what are the things within that particular 5 minutes I should talk about. And by 5 minutes, I mean, if I get right now 30 minutes to present a topic, can I compress that more? Can I compress that in 5 minutes? That is a huge capability of what you're talking in 30 minutes. Can you talk about that particular content in only 5 minutes? So that's how presenting your approach, presenting your vision in a comprised manner. So communication is highly important, looking at problem prevention. And if that is the case, there are no barricades, there are no barriers, not at all.
So now there is no question
Sure.
in the chat box. One is saying how to overcome the fear of if I'm not getting a job.
So first, again, so fear is man-made. So there is, if you look at a newborn baby, that little child doesn't have any fear. So that means fear is man-made. So always try overcoming feelings, stuff which are man-made. Only focus on to natural stuff. So there is no fear. First of all, there is nothing to fear of. Second is of not getting a job. Not getting a job is not a problem. If we look at the root cause could be different. Again, looking at only two parameters. One is strong communication, so that maybe you have a lot of skills, but you're not able to present it. Or you're presenting it well, but you don't have those skills. It could be either of these two, or both. So if you're focused and working into these directions, there should never be a fear of not getting a job, because jobs are humongously, I mean, you have huge opportunities. I mean, there are less people, more jobs. That's the current situation, and it will continue to happen. And that's what I'm trying to emphasize in the early 15 minutes, that there is no lack of jobs. Jobs are in high amplitude, but the skill sets are missing. So if we are able to focus on the skill sets and attain those skill sets, they should never, I mean, there's no point in having any fear.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
So we can continue, as this was the last question, I think.
Sure. So with that, I mean, if there are no questions, I'm happy to conclude, and happy to take up questions offline if you have, or yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for sharing your experience and knowledge with us. And we agree with you, sir, that there are many opportunities available at the and at the same time there is a lack of skills. Thank you for guiding our students, and I'm sure that our students will definitely act upon your advice. Thank you so much, sir. Now, may I request Director IT, Dr. Sunil Kumar Pandey, sir, for vote of thanks to our speaker, Mr. R.K. Jackson, sir. Director, sir. So you are mute.
Would you like to conclude now, or would you like to declare the result first?
So, you
tell us. We are there.
So we will be declaring the result also. Okay, sir.
So should we conclude, or you are announcing the result?
Sir, I am announcing the result of if you want to deliver vote of thanks to
this is not my wish.
So we are ready with the result, sir.
So I think Jackson Sahab is also here.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, so we will be declaring
the result, and then we conclude.
Okay, sir. Okay, okay, sir. Yesterday, Department of IT had organized Quiz Boomer, an online national quiz where more than 500 candidates had registered from all over the country. Now I will be announcing the names of winners in the presence of our Director IT and UG, Dr. Sunil Kumar Pandey, sir, our eminent speaker, Mr. R.K. Jackson, sir, Vice Principal ITS UG Campus, Professor Nancy Sharma, ma'am, faculty colleagues. The first winner of the Quiz Boomer goes to Mr. Mohit Kumar Jain from PGDAV College, and he is awarded with rupees 2,000.
Very good. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mohit. The second winner of Quiz Boomer is Miss Tanya Varshne. She is from ITS UG Campus, and she has been awarded with rupees 1,500. Congratulations, Tanya. The third winner of Quiz Boomer goes to Mr. Prakash K. He is from Congo Arts and Science College, and the award of 1,000 rupees is awarded to him. We have more 5 consolation prizes, and each prize is having the 500 rupees to each one. First consolation goes to Mr. Shobit Gupta from Bhagwan Parshuram Institute of Technology. Congratulations, Shobit. Second consolation goes to Ritik Maheshwari. He's from ITS UG campus. Congratulations, Ritik. Third consolation goes to Miss Pallavi. She's from Mata Shanti Devi Memorial College of Education, Ambala. We congratulate you, Pallavi. Fourth consolation prize goes to Miss Isha Agrawal. She's again from ITS UG campus. Congratulations, Isha. And fifth consolation goes to Mr. Bhushan Kisan Samal. He is from DMCE Airoli. We congratulate all the winners. Now I request and invite Director IT Dr. Sunil Kumar Pandey sir for the concluding remarks and deliver vote of thanks to our speaker, Mr. R.K. Jackson sir.
Thank you, Professor Pooja Dharji. First of all, congratulations to all the winners. In fact, yesterday when this quiz was being conducted, I mentioned that this every participation, because winning or losing is something different, because this is all the number game. Somebody takes 1 marks more, 0.5 marks more, 0.5 marks less, or becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever the ranking is. But a more important thing is to dare to participate and perform on such forum where students from all across the country are participating. We could saw the participants from different institutions of different places. And we wish that we could have this event in offline mode where you all could have met, you all could have interacted, and it could have been a very good opportunity to network and to understand what others are doing, what others are planning. And that's how this is what called peer learning. But nonetheless, we are confident that things will be normal soon and we will meet in campus also. R.K. Jackson sir, it has always been a pleasure, and every time we listen you, we find different perspective. We get something unique out of it, and that's what's here, your experience, the way you are involved in your work, and the kind of experience you have gained while working across the globe in mostly leading companies in the field of IT. Today, it was really different being a person from cybersecurity, ethical hacking, and then guiding, mentoring to others in these fields. Entrepreneurship was something which we are expecting that we will get something different, and especially the questions which were raised by the participants. The way it was answered, it was very crisp, but at the same time pinpointed and addressing to the concern what questions were asked. So I'm really thankful to you on behalf of all the participants, on behalf of the Institute, for accepting our request. I know you had a roundtable discussion today, but because of this program only, you had cancelled that. And that's what the kind of attachment, that's the kind of bonding we share. And that's why every time we come up with these new ideas, we find very few people like